What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Downtime with Downstar, episode 171. And today we are here with Myles Bautista. Myles, what's up, bro?
What's up, Mr. Downstar?
Man, thank you for making it here today. I appreciate it.
Cool, thanks for having me. When you reached out to me, the first thing I thought of was like, man, you make those cool hardware stuff. I
Yeah.
think. Is that you?
Yeah, man.
That's pretty innovative.
Thank you, bro. I
I like
appreciate
innovation.
it. Thank you, man. You have a lot of innovation yourself. So, before we get into it, can you just give everybody a quick summary of who you are and what you do?
My name's Myles Bautista. I'm one of the few guys that has an AARP card when it comes to Honda incorrect wheel drive drag racing.
There we go.
That's about it. Been involved with a lot of companies. The Honda scene from the beginning, when nobody believed in us, we just had to prove everybody wrong.
Yeah.
And we came out, probably one of the few guys out here that came up with a lot of stuff for the Hondas and made a company called RevHard, which is probably the number one most knocked off turbo kit in eBay now.
Got it.
And everything in eBay was like, I can say that it was my design. And I wish I knew how patents worked back in the days, but it is what it is. Going into the Honda scene, I can say that when my parents bought me the Honda back in '89, I wasn't really into racing or Hondas. I was into mini truckings. I drove an '81 pickup truck.
Did it have the bed, the dance?
I almost got to that part. I had 412s in the back.
Yeah.
Center lines, 15 by 10s, and but growing up in LA, I would say when my parents got me my '85 Honda HF, bro, that thing got almost 40 miles a gallon, right?
Yeah.
But when my parents got me that '85 CRX, I think it growing up in LA, I think it saved my life.
Really?
Because growing up, I grew up by Rampart. I don't know if you know the Rampart Police Station. Off Temple,
Okay.
where all the corrupt LAPD, Tupac, Biggie kind of thing. I grew up around that neighborhood.
Did that have to do with the LA riots?
Well, there's the thing. Yeah, back in the '80s, growing up, as a kid, you have to learn where to walk 5 blocks this way, 5 blocks that way, and you got to be involved in a clique, or it's the only way not to get bullied is you got to be involved in a group, right? So I was in trucking. My parents got me a Honda HF CRX, and from that day, we moved out of LA. I think literally having that car saved my life because my truck had bashed windows, slashed tires every weekend. And when I got the CRX, I started fixing it up, and I said, "Oh man, it's too expensive. It's going to get expensive if this car's going to get trashed every weekend."
Yeah.
Back on the riot stuff. That's pretty much LAPD is like everywhere, like where the Rodney King riots happened, '92, '93.
So what city did you actually grow up in?
LA.
Okay.
Right in the heart of LA.
About which area?
101 and Rampart.
101 and Rampart. What are some exits before or after that? I'm trying to think.
You got Vermont.
Okay.
You got Vermont, Silver Lake, Rampart, and Alvarado.
Okay. LA.
Alvarado is where you used to buy all the fake IDs back in the day.
Got you. All right. I know exactly what you're talking about now.
It was a rough childhood growing up in that area. You got to be involved with gangs or, and all that stuff. So
was that something that you participated in?
Yeah, actually, that's why I said having the CRX saved my life because I had a couple of friends that died growing up. Most of my friends in LA served time.
Yeah.
So when I got into street racing, it kind of like took me to another path.
Was um was that a reason that you guys moved out of LA because things were getting bad?
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons my parents moved us out of the city.
And where'd you guys end up moving to?
I ended up in Monrovia, Duarte,
Monrovia.
Monrovia area.
Got you.
So, but my dad's had an auto body repair shop since '84
Hmm.
in North Hollywood.
Okay.
So I spent most of my time. I went to high school in North Hollywood, Grant High School, and I spent most of my times hanging out in my dad's shop.
Mm.
And that's where all the wrenching and playing around with parts. I started a car club.
Uh-huh.
That's where majority of the guys in the industry, like Kenji Sumino, Mike Chung, we're all in the same car club. Nichu, Robert Chu. That's where my dad gave us that place to learn cars and mess things up.
Was that the Team Precision?
Yes,
Got you.
that
Okay.
was it. Yeah, that was it.
So this was when you got into Hondas or before that?
No, this was when I got into Hondas.
Okay.
Uh, got away from the mini trucking, got away from NWA stuff, and started transitioning into Hondas, into Bobby Brown, Boys to Men.
Lifestyle
I gotta get,
change.
yeah, I gotta stop listening to Easy, because Easy made you think kind of.
Yeah. So a lot of people have seen that like Straight Outta Compton and Boys in the Hood and to Society and things like that. Was it really like that back in the days?
If you grew up in LA, it is, it is. That's why it's like that's why when we moved out, got into the car scene, it made it. I think it changed a lot of part of survival.
Yeah.
Me growing up and realizing that there's more important things.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. So when you got the CRX HF, was that a car that you wanted?
No, actually, my dad had a body shop, so I think a customer gave it to him as a payment. My dad's one of those guys that had an auto repair shop, but then never got rich
Yeah.
because he always took bounce checks and a non-running car as a payment for the work that he just did.
Yeah.
But the CRX looked cool because he actually fixed it up, and it's like, oh man, I've had that, like. So first thing I did is I think I put four 10-inch subs.
Four?
Yeah, and the wheel well, and it's only a two-seater, but I always had boys with me, so I'd fit that CRX with four people on a two-seater. I have people laying down on the subs,
Oh
sitting back
shit.
there. Would travel, go to Santa Barbara, and
Yeah.
we get far with that CRX.
Yeah, definitely. 40 miles to the gallon, you said.
Yeah, yep.
So
So
what speakers were you rocking back in the day?
Rockford Fosgates and MB Quartz.
Got you. Okay.
MB
Nice.
Quartz, that thing thump. It thump.
Wow.
So
Was MB Quartz a pretty prestigious brand back then?
yeah,
Got you.
MB Quartz, ADS amps.
Yeah.
I was really into sound system because coming from the mini trucking scene, I was really into sound. I wasn't pretty much into engines yet.
Yeah.
I started fixing up the CRX when there's a night I was driving on the 110 and I got spanked by an '88 GTI.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so after that I started fixing it up. My girlfriend actually took me to the street races.
Mm-hmm.
It's like probably '89
Okay.
and Maria Street, uh, and that's when I started street racing. I didn't win much in street races with the HF, tell you
Mm-hmm.
that. But every weekend I was putting something new in that car, and it's like, it's having the access to my dad's shop.
Yeah.
I was I pretty much put everything in that car to try to make it go fast, but it didn't work out.
Yeah.
With that 12 valve HF motor, CVCC,
Yeah.
it's like, damn, I went from dual side draft changing cams every weekend,
Mm-hmm.
ignition components, but I was still not winning. And I figured out that HS tranny wasn't good enough to for drag racing.
Got you.
So
So did you know how to work on cars already because of your dad having the auto body shop?
actually, no. Uh, when my dad had the shop, he had mechanics.
Okay.
So
Oh,
every time I
got you.
bought new parts, I'd have the mechanics put it on, right?
Nice.
So now but there comes a point. There came a point in time where I bought a new set of camshaft again, and I'm waiting for my dad's mechanic to put it on. And I waited the whole day. I was like, man, there's this guy's not working on anything, but he doesn't want to touch my car, right? So I'm like, hey, when you gonna put that on? He goes, oh, your dad told me not to do it. He goes, you got to learn how to do it yourself. So from that day forward, I started doing the wrenching part, and so when I asked my dad, like, hey, dad, how do you put this on? And he's like, it's about time you try to learn something. And
Yeah.
from then on, I that's when I started working on cars, and then me and the car club guys, we just used my dad's shop for everything. I mean, that's where we learned. We messed a lot of things up
Got you. You have
working
to.
on cars.
You have to mess
Yeah,
stuff up to know how to learn those lessons.
yeah,
Put the oil in the right spot.
yeah.
So
So
when you get the CRX, did you already have a car club then, or did that come after the CRX?
it came after.
Got
It
you.
came
So
after.
when did you realize that there was an actual community for Hondas, meaning you can make a car club, go out to these races and meets, and there's a separate like community for that?
It was actually during high school when I got the car. We started going to the beach. We had our own meets back here in the valley in
Okay.
Silmar. They actually named one of the street tracks after us, Team Precision Track.
No way.
Uh, yeah, that's where we would meet because we found another street behind Roxford that we started hanging out at, and everybody started going to that spot. So they named it the TP Track.
Very cool. Is this San
And
Gabriel or San Fernando?
San Fernando,
Okay, cool.
San Fernando by Denny's off the 5 in Roxford in
Got you.
Silmar,
Okay.
Silmar. Uh, so that went on from '89. I quit street racing in '93 because at that same TP track, my best friend got killed.
Oh
The,
wow.
the gangbangers, Asian boys gang started. I guess they got bored. They got nobody to gangbang with, so they go to street races and start their own.
Yeah.
Look for somebody to just do harm on.
Wow, that's so unfortunate, man. I
So
hear
yeah,
that
we quit
story a
that.
lot. I hear that there was a lot of gangs involved in like the street racing and going to the meets and things like that.
Yeah, and it's like it's crazy because that's what I got out of. I
Yeah.
got out of that scene and got a new hobby, made a new set of friends. Uh, it would have been a different night if that shooting happened close to me.
Yeah.
It'd have been I'd probably be in jail.
Yeah, I bet, man. Golly. So you decided that the streets weren't for you anymore?
Yeah, no more street racing. I laid low in the street racing, and that's when Battle of the Imports Frank started throwing events,
Okay.
and when Frank threw the Battle of the Imports, that's when I kind of like got my juice back from going again.
Now, Battle of the Imports started in 95 if I'm not mistaken.
No, it started in '90.
In 90.
Yeah, '90, '91.
Oh, wow.
But the cars that Frank was into was mostly Datsuns and Rotaries. Those are the cars that dominated the Battle of the Imports back in the days. Was the Rotaries. The
Got you.
you can't mess with the Rotaries for some reason. The Rotaries are they're already deep in the 11s,
Mhm.
11s, 10s. The Rotaries and Datsuns, they're already in the 11s at least in the 11s. So when we started the Honda scene, me, Junior, Archie, Tony, Who else is in the Honda scene? There's I heard from Bergenholtz,
Mm-hmm.
the guys he looked up to was Dean Hanano.
Mm-hmm.
Dean Hanano had the same exact car I did with the same setup, twin carbs. That car probably ran like high 13s. He was the only Honda out there besides the rotaries and all that stuff.
Got you.
But as far as Honda's going fast at battle, I would say there's only those four guys that started it. That's You can credit those four guys, us, from saving a bunch of Honda enthusiasts to knock off the time from 13 to 11s.
Got you. Okay.
Majority of the development that we spent out of our own pocket with no YouTube. I mean, we spent a lot of money trying to get to the 11th.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the generation after us that came in probably came in and jumped into the 11s.
Yeah. Okay. I get what you mean
You know what I
now.
mean?
Yeah.
So front wheel drive cars, it's that's why it's like it kind of offends me when people build cars and they jump leaps and bounds, right? While we're people like me and the people that we've helped out throughout the years, you go from 10s to 9s, 11s, 10s, 9s, and then 8s. It's like it's a progression.
Yeah.
So nowadays, man, you can look up what everybody has, jump into the 8s. Like,
Oh yeah. If I
you know what I
was
mean? It's like,
Yeah, if I was to build a race car right now, I would have it in mind that this car is going to start off somewhere in the nines for sure.
yep.
Because if it doesn't, there's not really any point of even getting into it if you're going to be competitive.
Yeah.
Unless, I mean, I don't want to say that because I don't want to discourage people from getting into it, but competitively, you're going to
Hmm.
have to be in the nines when these guys are already going into the eights all motor. Like,
Yeah.
you got to figure something out. So do you feel like you guys didn't get the credit for setting the foundation?
Uh, Not those guys. I mean, because those guys, Archie, Tony, and Junior, they didn't make the company out of it.
Mm,
Tony had his own auto repair shop, but as far as Archie and Junior goes, they didn't really benefit from it because they never started a company.
got you.
I ended up starting a company. I benefited from it. I started a company back then.
Yeah,
Hold on.
no worries.
So I started a company back then when I started RevHard. I benefited from it
Yeah,
because I turned into $1 million business in like 5 years, and
got you.
and all the turbo kits and all that stuff. But uh, so those guys, they never really got the credit they deserve, even though uh, we would go against each other. We start from the streets,
Yeah,
and we gave a bunch of people a bunch of money to try to go fast. And we all started with RC engineering because we all cracking blocks, right? We're all cracking the Honda blocks. So if RC started doing the dowels, they put dowels on the sleeves, but it still cracks.
mm-hmm.
So, and it's our own development and money that figured out how to make it last now.
Got you.
'Cause when I first started JG Engine Dynamics, which is another guy that everybody should still give credit to, uh, because everybody went to him and they already had the secret combination. We figured out the combination, and Javier provided all the resources, the shop, the dyno, all that stuff, right? But I don't believe that they given JG enough credit. I mean, me and JG had a falling out
Yeah.
after I worked for him when I started RevHard. But still, it's like you're not gonna find a shop that gave you all the combination and let you use all the resources he has to go quick.
So let's
Yeah.
let's definitely talk about JG Engine Dynamics. That comes up a lot in a lot of the podcasts that I do. So tell me about it. What was your perception of the shop before you even started working there, and then your history along with them and what you seen come out of the shop?
Actually, we can I can break it down. Uh, Besides JG, the first people that really helped the Honda scene move up, I would say John Conchaldi,
From
AEM.
AM.
Before JG existed, there was JG existed, but he was specialized in Datsuns.
Got you.
Javier was really big on Datsuns, L motors, L26, L28, and all that stuff, old
Yeah.
school stuff. But the first or three, the first three guys that really did a lot of work with the Hondas was AEM, John Conchaldi, RPS Automotive, which is Rob Smith, and I would say, Bill Good from Good Performance.
Goot. How do you spell that?
Good, Gude. Rest in peace, by the way. He just passed away 2 months ago.
Oh wow. Rest in peace, man.
But those are the three that really helped develop a bunch of stuff for help Honda racers like us get to another level. John Conchaldi used to tune my CRX before I went to JG and started brainstorming with JG of, hey, I'm cracking blocks,
Got you.
figure out how to cement it, weld it back in the days.
Yeah. So what
So before
was?
JG, it was those three. It was those three people that got involved, and that's basically the team too. Is Bill Good dealt with the Tony Fuchs, Rob Smith dealt with Junior,
Okay.
and I was like with AEM, and then started JG.
Uh huh.
When I first walked into JG, I was having the block problems with when I first turbocharged my car. So I was having block problems. So I went to JG. I was like, "Hey, I'm having problems splitting this block." And he's like, "Oh, we've done many high horsepower twin cam CC 1.6 motors." He's
Mm-hmm.
like, "We've done that. We made like 400 horsepower."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, cool. Let's do it." Because here's my idea. I've cemented it. The dowel pins didn't work. I cemented it, but now I'm having cooling problems because I cemented the whole block, so there's no water circulation,
Yeah.
right? So JG helped me out. We built that CC motor, and that's when we got the first notoriety of the world's fastest Honda. When I went 12, 21, 118. That's
Wow.
when they corrected it. Mike Farrar corrected it 12 to 1180 pass, and I think that's when Mike put a big target on my head after that. Because once you put world's fastest Honda, everybody's gunning for you.
Now that was
You
in
know?
Turbo Magazine.
Yeah, I think this is it.
Oh, sick.
That was a CRX.
Nice. So you got JG on the side, precision on
Yeah,
the
AEM,
hood.
just AEM. Oh, that's Team Precision, yeah. And then AEM, and I just had those two,
Yeah.
JG and AEM.
World's first 11-second Honda. Got you. Okay.
So now when we ran that was back in the days we go home with like a $200 price and a $25 plaque, right?
Yeah.
So between the fast guys, between me, Junior, and Archie, we would always have side bets going
Oh,
on
okay.
at the track because that the money's just not there. This is just
Yeah.
for pure passion. So yeah, that was it. When I ran that, and Junior already had his car on the trailer
Yeah.
because back then it was bracket racing, and then we get to do exhibition passes to try to be who's the fastest and who's the quickest.
Got you.
So we'd have like a pool of money between all the Honda guys, and Junior would be like, he went a 12:30 that day, put his car on the trailer because nobody can touch it. Nobody can touch the 12:30 time.
Yeah.
And here we are, we're waiting for our moment to. He's like, "Yeah, give me the money, give me the money." I'm like, "Bro, we're still in line. We're still in line. So sure enough, I make that pass. We go 12:21, and you can hear it. My buddies are all saying, Junior's like, "Get the car off the trailer." So that's it was fun. I mean, it almost came down to brawls all the time.
Really?
But yeah, it's man. I tell you what, man. With all these camera phones laying around now, me, Archie Jr. and those guys won't be around. Like, you know.
Yeah, I was reading one of your articles that you had. I think it was on Super Street where you were saying that there was a lot of violence in the street races, so Frank Choi opened up the battle, but then it almost turned to a couple fist fights out there.
Yeah, I was a hothead. You know, I mean, I grew up. I was a hothead. I mean, there's a couple of guys that I think there's one time at the battle I asked Jeremy Lukovsky
Yeah.
because me and Tony were going at it, and Jeremy went in my face, and I'm like, you know what? I'm a good friends with Frank, but if you want to handle this down the street at the Chevron, we can take it right now.
Yeah.
But maybe that's why I got two girls. Like God gave me two daughters for a reason.
Yeah,
I think
right?
my boys would have been Ed Bergenholtz. Ed Bergenholtz, when it's only cheating when you get caught, right, in racing.
Yeah.
So one of the advantages I've had, you got to study everything about racing, how the clock works and all this stuff. So for my dad having a body shop, I actually started all that canard stuff in
Yeah,
front
yeah,
of the
yeah.
car.
Okay. Go over a
And what
little bit more. There you go. Okay, you
you
guys can
see
see
all
the
the
canards.
canards, well, how I make it longer and low,
Got you,
and
got you.
all the, when they teach you the trick about staggering tires, so
Yes.
that you don't start the clock right away. I did all that. And that was in the '90s.
Got
Now
you.
people are starting to implement again with the low side skirts and those things in the front.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
right, so I started all that, and when I went 1040s, they never counted all my records because they can't imagine a front wheel drive car doing 1.4, 1.5 60 foots.
Yeah.
And I would hit it, but I'd never back it up that day. So at that one time when I went 1043, you got Ron Bergenholtz. I think this is this pass right here.
Okay. So that's you, and then that's
Me and
Ron's
Ed.
or
Yep.
Ed. Okay.
Yep. So Ron too, after I made that pass, started coming up to me like, "You cheater! You cheater! You cheat!" And I'm like, "Ron, you better like step back, son. You don't have you don't have your Vietnamese boys backing you up. Step back." So that's what he said. Almost came into blows. There's many times I almost came into blows.
I
You
love it,
know?
man. It's the passion, dude.
Yeah.
It's the
Yep.
passion over it. You spend all these late nights in your garage working on the car and getting ready for the event. Of course, you're gonna be your passion is gonna be flowing, man.
I can't believe that really the passion of there's a time during one of those races where we were having transmission problems
Mm-hmm.
going in. So me, Kenji, and Mike Chung, Kenji's the president of Gretty,
Yeah.
we took apart that tranny at 10:30 at night. We took it apart probably like 6, 7 times, put it in the car, and everybody was waiting for us in the parking lot because we're supposed to be at battle.
Yeah.
And that's passion right there. When you go 24 hours straight trying to figure out a problem, and you couldn't, that I probably won't last now doing
Yeah.
that. That's passion. It's. I made a lot of friendships along the way. So there's a lot of people in the industry. If you ask me about somebody in the industry, I can probably give you a story about them.
So, were you and Kenji really good friends?
Yeah, they're actually they're all the best men to my wedding.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
I love Kenji,
So
man. I really respect him and his place in the industry right now. The conversations that I have with him behind the scenes, he just gives me such a good outlook on things, so positive, and for him just to still be killing it. SEMA 2019, he's been in the industry for so long, and the new chassis that came out was the Supra, and his was the
hmm
best. Out of all the Supras at SEMA, his was the best,
I
and
got a
that's
lot.
great.
Me and Kenji have a lot of history. I used to work for Toy Sport.
Mm-hmm.
I did side jobs for Toy Sport. I did all the installation for the Tech 2 system, fuel management, all that stuff. So that's when I met Kenji at Toy Sport. This
Gotcha.
was right after Ian died, so it's like '93,
Okay.
and he saw my car setup, and Toy Sport just finished doing a car for him. They put the CC motor, twin cam, small turbo. I'm the one that tuned it, but it wasn't that fast.
Mm-hmm.
But he spent a lot of money. So after he drove my car, that's when Kenji started hanging out with me, hanging out my dad's shop. I completely redid his setup, and I can't believe up to this day, if you get Kenji to work on a project with you, he's always all in, you know?
Yeah.
So
He's very
you know, for me.
dedicated, man. Great dude.
Yeah, I love his passion, and it's like I took him to the IBOC meet 2 years ago.
Okay.
He hasn't he hasn't gone and he hasn't been around Honda in, I would say, 10 years maybe,
Mm-hmm.
since building EM 99 SI kits.
Yeah.
He hasn't been around Honda uh, for a while, so I say, hey, come with me to the IBOC meet, and he came with me to IBOC meet. He saw all the cars of how clean everything was and everything, right? And 2 weeks later, he freaking sends me a picture. Look what I bought. And I'm like, this guy. I mean, must be nice. Must be nice. I said, I'm still trying to build a drag car for my daughter.
Yeah.
I started a ninth gen Civic
Oh,
project
cool,
for my
cool, cool.
daughter. Bro, I started that when she got her license in high school.
Yeah.
My older daughter just graduated BSN
Oh.
at university, and I'm still working on the car. And here's Kenji buys a car 2 weeks. Within a year, he's already at the IBOC meet with all the goodies,
That car is amazing, man. I
So
love that car.
yeah. So uh, Kenji's passion is I don't know how he does it. It's just something about the Japanese culture that just
Definitely.
the work ethic.
Yeah. And
So
it
yeah, Kenji, we have a lot of stories. So when I finished building his car back then, he had a DX Civic,
got you.
and I took him to the street races, and Kenji would like be all scared because he knows we got gun here, gun there, and because we got to be safe now after my friend got killed. So I took him
Yeah.
to street races, and we're always strapped. And he would never want to drive his car. Every time we set up a race, we'll have one of our friends drive it.
Yeah.
All right, and Kenji, you could break down at 3, 4 in the morning. I'll break down. Our friends would break down LAX. Kenji would come help us out, and he lived in Tustin.
Wow.
He would come help us out, use his AAA Plus card and all that stuff. And then when we used to work at my dad's shop,
Mm-hmm.
he used to work for Boeing. So my dad's shop's in North Hollywood. We would leave my dad's shop 3, 4 in the morning. He'll go home to Tustin and go to work at Boeing in Long Beach
Oh,
at 7, 8
wow.
o'clock. That's how passionate he is. It's just, man. I wish I got his whatever gene of
Yeah.
of working, because that you know I was lazy because I had my dad.
Yeah, I feel you, man. Big shout out to Kenji, man. It shows that the hard work really, really does pay off, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's get back into JG. So you took your car in there. They said that they could do some work on it. How did you end up working for them?
So right. So I took the car to JG and told him all my problem. And he's like, "Oh, I've done many of those motors already, right?"
Yeah.
So after I made that pass, the phone started ringing off the hook. One engine builds after another coming in. The phone literally rang off the hook, right? So a few months in JG, we're taking all this business in from that run. Everybody's trying to go 11s. That's when everybody. That's why I said, like, everybody just jumped into the 11s because everybody hung out at JG and they
Yeah.
found out what combination, right, to break into the 10s.
Mm-hmm.
And a few months, probably close to a year into it, then I realized, I was like, wait, Harsh, I ran this number. I'm the only car running for you.
Yeah.
Where's all those cars that you said you built?
Yeah, wouldn't you hear about them on the streets or something?
Exactly. Exactly. So basically, I was the guinea pig. I was
Gosh.
the guinea pig that gave him all the ideas.
Yeah.
The, before we had connecting rods, it was pricey to buy connecting rods, right?
Yeah.
So I'm the one that told him the combination that the B series rods, which is beefier than the 1.6s,
Uh-huh.
can be used on the 1.6 motors.
Okay, got you.
He sold a bunch of those motors, like built that way, because those things shot peen can handle 375, 400 horsepower. So he sold a lot of 1.6 motors that can take 400 horsepower.
So this shop, they were just a motor building shop, and then you came, and then they started focusing on Hondas?
The Honda, yeah,
Got you. Okay.
yeah, and
Okay.
that took off. His Honda engine stuff took off. They were mostly Datsun L motors, but when we started playing with the Hondas, we got the right combination. It's one of the things too. Back then, we only had Turbonetics
Okay.
as a turbo supplier. There's no Garrett, there's no Borg Warner, no Precision. There's only Turbonetics and
Okay.
old Garrett stuff. Old Garrett stuff. So I have a guy that worked for Turbonetics, Chris Weisberg.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that kept on building me turbos. Let me know how that works. Build turbos. Let me know how that works. I mean, I don't have an engineering degree,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm the guy that would always keep on trying it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's step back a couple of years. How I ended up with the company.
Sure.
We're looking at all the carboy magazines. Oh, there's a turbo HKS turbo kit.
Yeah.
So I buy an HKS turbo. It's made by Garrett, but HKS labeled HKS on it for my CC motor. And the turbo had water lines, water inlet outlets.
Yeah.
I'm like, where do I put that? Right? I mean, I can make everything, but I don't know where to put that.
Mm-hmm.
So I took that turbo setup, took it to Ack Miller in Pico Rivera.
Okay, everybody, we're going to take a quick break for our sponsors, and we'll be back in 1 minute. We all know that there's tons of places you can buy your car parts at, but when you really need help, who's in your corner? When you need parts for your Honda, you need to visit HeelToeAuto.com. Since 2002, Heel-Toe has built a reputation for service and support. Let me repeat that, guys. Since 2002. It's 2020 right now. That's a long time of experience, man. These social media slingers and copycat web stores can't match Heel-Toe's professionalism. Heel-Toe even offers a complete OEM store for all your genuine parts needs. Whether it's for show, race, or just a badass daily, remember that HeelToeAuto.com is in your corner. And guys, if you're on Instagram, make sure you check them out at Heel-Toe Automotive. Please go to their page right now, add them, and comment that you heard them on Downtime with Downstar podcast. Next up is Downstar. Downstar is the premium leader in dress-up hardware and engine bay accessories. We have all the nuts and bolts for all your screwing and nutting needs. From engine kits, transmission kits, mount kits, clutch lines, brake kits, t-shirts, skateboards, hats, lighters. Damn, we got it all. We actually have too much, guys. So if you can, please come over and buy some stuff at downstaring.com or check us out at Instagram at Downstar. Make sure you give us a follow. Now, back to the show.
Ack Miller was one of the turbo gurus back in the days. Old school guys. They did the turbo Pintos. They did the propane powered.
Propane?
Right? Propane powered. I almost went propane. Propane powered cars. They held the record for a Hyundai on Pikes Peak
Okay.
for a front wheel drive car. So I said, I'll take it to these guys because I don't know how to hook up this turbo. The water line's on the turbo. I know everything else. So I take it to Ack Miller, brought him the HKS turbo, picked up the car after 2 weeks, had a $2,800 bill just to put on the turbo and get it running and all that stuff, right? Blow-through carbureted, by the way. I was running twin side drafts.
Oh, shit.
Took it home to my dad. Took it home to my dad's shop. And I'm like, that's not the turbo I brought him. That's not the HKS turbo.
Uh-huh.
Right? So I look, and it's like this guy put like a T25 Garrett in it. smaller than the T3 turbo that came from HKS.
Yeah.
So I call him up. I'm like, I was like, that's not the turbo I brought you. He's like, oh, that turbo's too big for your setup. It's too big for your setup. So that's why we gave you the Pikes Peak combination turbo.
Yeah.
That's a better setup for your car, a T25. I'm like, okay. Hey, you guys know what you're talking about. You guys hold the record for Pikes Peak. I don't know nothing.
Yeah.
And I look, the water lines wasn't hooked up.
Oh shit. That was a whole
So I'm
problem.
like, yeah, the only reason I paid $2,800 is because I wanted to know how that water line hooks up. I know everything else.
Yeah.
He goes, you don't need it. So that's a bad taste in my mouth, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, damn. So like, I completely redid that turbo setup. And so going back to Chris at Turbonetics, he's the one that always made me a combination of turbos, and I would try it every weekend. It works. It works. It works. Until eventually I ended up working for Turbonetics in 2001.
Okay.
The engineers there, they always follow the turbo maps, and they would always tell me that's the turbo that would work for that car, for the Honda.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't know the VE, the volumetric efficiency on the Hondas. It's like not the same as the old V8s. I think the VE volumetric efficiency on the V8s back then was probably 70%.
Okay.
Where on the Hondas they're 90% and up because of the VTEC combination stuff. They couldn't. If I didn't test the turbos and just went along with the mapping that the engineers went,
Yeah.
nobody would be running GT45s now. Nobody would be running these humongous turbos on a Honda now. They'd still be stuck in a T3, T4.
So you were basically doing R&D for Turbonetics early on.
Yeah, when it was just a small moms and pop shop. It was just owned by Bob and Bobby, and it was a small moms and pop shops. Turbonetics back then. They're the only one that catered to high performance.
Got you.
Turbos. So back to JG.
Yeah.
Here I am testing turbos, and that's the thing. When Chris hit me up, he's like, hey, one of the wicked guys wants to buy the turbo combination.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, Chris, do me a favor. Just let me just enjoy this moment right now.
Yeah.
Don't sell that turbo combination that we found,
Because you had the perfect combo.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's a time where I could have dominated. This was 94, 95, 96. I could have dominated that time frame. But the only problem with my CRX at that time, especially with the B-Series motor, was the custom axles.
Oh, gotcha.
We didn't have custom axles. So from 94, 96, I've always held the fastest mile-an-hour record at Battle of the Imports. And the only reason that CRX didn't really dominate the ET is because I can't launch it the way I have to. Because the axles I made always broke.
Yeah.
That always broke. And everyone, we started with 20-inch slicks. Junior started with 20-inch slicks, and we're like, what the heck is that? It was a road race slick, right?
Yeah.
And he and Archie street race, and he spanked Archie on radials.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, the first time we saw Junior with a 20-inch road race slicks, like, see the kind of tire he has? Right? Like, is that gonna work?
Yeah.
I was like, that thing is, low profile slick, 20-inch tall.
Yeah.
I'm like, that ain't gonna work. Junior kicked our ass at the street races and pay up.
Yeah.
So ever since then, we look for that 20-inch road race slick. Everybody had a set of slicks at the street races. Wherever we went, we slicked down.
Yeah.
And that's when everybody's slicking down. When everybody started putting slicks at the street races, that's when the Hondas.
Okay.
That's when the Hondas took off against the all-wheel drive Talons, Supras.
Yeah.
The rotaries.
Yeah.
Back then at the street races, you got the rotary guys and the Eclipse guys. It's like, there's no Honda ever going to beat a real-wheel drive car.
Yeah.
So, but the slick, once we slicked down, it was a different scene at the street races. And at the same time at the racetrack, my CRX could have dominated with that combination if I'd never broken. If I had drive shaft shop, if I had Frank rehack at that time,
Yeah.
game over, game over. So now Chris sold that one turbo to a wicked guy,
Okay.
David Chi actually. And I told him, don't sell it yet. I was like, don't sell it yet. Like, let's just enjoy the moment. And sure enough, when Chris sold that turbo, everybody jumped into the 11s. Like, done
It was the
deal.
perfect
Everybody's,
package.
yeah, yeah.
Now, was that Frank from Blocks?
Which one? The
The
Axel guy?
the one no, the one that got the Dave, excuse me, Dave.
Dave Shee from Blocks.
Okay, got you.
Dave Shee from Blocks. Because back then it was just me, uh, Archie Jr., mostly me and JG and Dave came down.
Uh-huh.
Dave Shee came down. And Dave's got loot. So I remember when he first came in,
Yeah.
I actually had one of my first 88 CRX. I got an 88 CRX with the first 1.8 motor, turbocharged. He came in there, he test drove it with Javier, and Javier claimed that he did all the work to it, right? But it was actually done at my dad's shop, Man Auto Works, because I used to promote Man Auto Works before I had RevHard. But I helped out, worked at JG, so I had my cars there. So when Dave Shee came down, he just, he put probably like 10K on the table. And was like, I want everything that's on that setup.
Mm.
And that's why when we did the B series swap on Dave Shee, did the turbo kit. And the funniest thing is Javier claimed he did all the work there. When he showed that to Dave, he claimed all the work for it, right? So when they did the swap, they ended up calling me. He said, "Hey, Myles, what? Dave's car, we put it all together, but the wheels doesn't want to spin." And what's happening was back then, the DX, the CX, and then the SI, the back of the knuckle, the hubs on the DX,
Okay.
it's a small surface. So when you tighten the axle on the knuckles,
Yeah.
when you tighten the axle, it locks the axle up on the hub, on the knuckle.
Got you.
So they called me up like, "Hey, we finished Dave's car, but it doesn't want to. It's stuck."
Yeah.
I was like, "Damn, Hard. I thought, I heard you told Dave that you did all that setup on my car. So now why are you guys calling me trying to figure out what's wrong with that car, right?" So after that happened, the whole Wicked crew from Ed Bergenholtz, Ron, Charles, that crew just jumped into the 11s out of nowhere. But it's all because of the setup that came out of JG.
Now, Dave, he's from NorCal?
Yeah, Dave, she's from NorCal.
Got you. Yeah, I'm not very familiar with him, besides, just knowing Blocks from being around. So what made it's so crazy. What made JG like the shop? Was it these turbo kits that brought the
It was the
popularity
engine
to it?
packages. JG did a lot of cylinder heads and ported throttle bodies.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah, it was mostly the engine packages. And I was the one that was supposed to provide the turbo kits for those engine packages
Uh-huh.
until Javier decides he can do it, on his own. And that's when I started RevHard.
Okay, so when did you leave JG?
Me and Javier had a falling out in '98 when I built my Integra.
Okay.
After I built this Integra with the H22 in it.
Okay. Oh, nice.
So that package with the H22 made the most horsepower. We were like an H22 battle because we were just doing engine swaps, bigger, bigger, bigger. So it was me, Viet, Charles, and Steph,
Uh-huh.
all on the H22 package. And we're always like in a horsepower competition. And when we got the dyno JG, we got a dyno jet. Javier's dyno. I think at that time, this should be like '98.
Okay.
90, 97, 98. I think the most power we were making was 600. That made the most horsepower compared to Steph's and all that stuff. Made 680 horsepower. And at that time, a JG's dyno, the more people you put on the car to load the car down,
Yeah.
the more horsepower it made.
Oh.
And so at that time, at 680, that's when we started realizing that the fuel pumps that Paxton sells is not enough. It's not sufficient, even though they say it's 1,000 horsepower fuel pump. We tested it; it's not enough.
Yeah.
Uh, Pretty much. So I broke apart from Javier because when he started building the motors for this Integra,
Uh-huh.
I would go through a motor a race.
Huh.
Something would go wrong with the motor every race.
Oh shit.
So I'm like, there's something wrong here, right? So it's Steph. I think it was Stefan. I think Stefan was actually the kind that threw him under the bus because when
Mm.
I left, Stefan and Ralph, one of the main guys there, Steph's like, you know why you're blowing up every weekend, right? He goes, why? He opens up a drawer full of used parts, and he goes, this is what we build your motor from. And those are like one of the reasons Steph left JG too.
Okay.
Is because Steph is a real cool kid, honest, and he didn't like, there was a time that Javier's business got really overwhelmed and crazy and making all that money that when I was building the motors, we were charging for stuff we never put on the motor.
Got you.
You know what I mean? It's on the invoice. We changed this, we changed that, but I'm like, me and Steph would put the motor and like, we never put that on, right? So I think that's one of the reasons Steph started his own company because uh, honesty. You know what I mean? It's gonna bite you back somehow, right?
Yeah.
So here I am now. I'm racing, trying to represent the company, and Steph tells me and Ralph tells me, goes, your motor I think is blowing up. It's because we're putting it out of combination of parts we have laying around that blew up. The motors that blew up. So me and Javier at the track, we almost went at it. I almost threw him under the bus in front of everybody. I'm like,
wow.
because he's like telling people that I owed him money,
Mm.
for all the motors that he's built for me. So I was like, you wouldn't even want me to tell the world what you did and what you did to me. So I started RevHard, and that's when RevHard took off. It took off. I wasn't even really gonna get in the industry.
Yeah.
That's why when you talk about the Rodney King riots,
Yeah.
I was actually I have an AA degree in criminal justice,
Oh wow.
so I was going to be a cop, LAPD.
Oh wow.
But after going through the college stuff, and I was on my first interview when the Rodney King riots happened in 93, 92. And after that, it's like, man, who wants to be a cop now?
Yeah, definitely.
Nobody's got respect for cops in the 90s.
Yeah.
So RevHard came about. I bought it from the bad experience from Ack Miller. Spent all that money there, and then I bought a turbo manifold from Drag.
Okay.
You heard of Drag?
I never heard of them before.
They're actually one of the first guys that made turbo kits for the Hondas.
Okay.
So I go to Drag. I ordered a manifold, $450. Okay, let me know when it's done. I go to Drag, paid $450 for a log manifold.
Mm-hmm.
And log meaning, man, they didn't even put any effort trying to make the airflow come out to the turbocharger. It's just really elbow here, and they bought that pipe T, the T pipe that just
Yeah.
went straight through, right? Go home, go back to the shop, show it to my dad, and my dad's like, "We paid $450 for that?"
Yeah.
It's like, he's like, "We could have made that here, right?" And back then, I didn't have any welder. I only had a acetylene welder.
Mm-hmm.
So I made Kenji's turbo kit, Mikey's turbo kit. I did all that piping stuff out of acetylene welder on the piping.
Yeah.
All that's the downpipe is acetylene welded.
Yeah.
So my dad's like, $450 for this? Like, really? Like, we paid $2,800 to install a turbo, and they lead us the wrong direction. And then we paid $450 for a turbo manifold, and it looks like crap.
Yeah.
I said, let me try to do one. So I bought my first welder in 94, 95, and made my own turbo manifold.
Uh-huh.
And just by directing the airflow of that turbo manifold, think about like 20 horsepower gain, 30 foot-pounds of torque at the
Nice.
boost level that we were running. So I'm like, hey, this works. So I started making all the turbo kits for my crew at first, and then that's how we started getting bigger because the guys I turbocharge, I quit street racing already, but the guys that I work on are a bunch of street racers.
Got you.
So they would go street racing in a weekend. They'd win a race at Gardena, and
Yeah.
sure enough, that following week, that same guy they beat would be going to my shop and saying, "Hey, I lost to this guy. I want the same turbo setup?" So that's when I started doing all the turbo kits.
So you went from wanting to get a turbo kit for your car. You bought the log manifold. It wasn't up to your par. You decided I'm gonna make my own, and that's where RevHard started from.
Yeah, that's when I started getting business from it, doing it one at a time, and then came to a point where, damn, I can't keep on making this turbo manifold. So I ended up casting it.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, ended up molding that actual design, which came from a tubular design. I molded, I got it molded, I got it casted, and so that cast manifold for the B series, it's so terrible now because even the one on eBay still has my part number in it.
No.
Like, yeah, all the people that knocked out my stuff, you see RH.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, everything you see on eBay that started a turbo manifold kit business, pay attention on eBay. There's Rev 9, there's Rev High, there's Rev, right? I trademarked RevHard, so they couldn't really copy the Rev, but I didn't patent the manifolds. I should have patented all that design. So I casted that, and I ended up selling it to Turbonetics. Ended up selling it to Drag, all the manifolds. That's when RevHard took off, like
What year
because
was
of those
that?
manifolds.
That you
That was
started the
I started
company.
RevHard 97 when I
Okay.
quit JG. I quit JG around 97. Around 97, we started that. So
So you
it was a good run.
you quit, started that, and then you worked at Turbonetics at the same time as you were doing RevHard.
Yeah, yeah. So like when RevHard was already up and running, balls rolling, uh, I wanted to learn more stuff about the turbo stuff. So I worked for Turbonetics. I was one of their tech guys and R&D guys.
Got you.
And so that time at 2000, from that time span, 2099 to 2001,
Yeah.
all the fast guys in the import scene are running Turbonetics. There's no Garrett, there's no Precision, there's Turbonetics is it. If you look at a handful of guys, and that's because the combination of turbochargers that I came up with,
Yeah.
the Kenny Tran, Lisa Kubo, Chris Rado, uh, East Coast guys, all Turbonetics,
Hmm.
and that's why Turbonetics was one of the only, if the only turbo company that really had trackside support, and then everybody else just kind of like bit their stuff and developed from there again. Like the people going 11s. Same thing with the turbo manufacturer. Garrett, Precision, Borg Warner got into it and they already know which combination works and that's what they improved on.
Got you.
So that's why now you got 1,500 horsepower Hondas.
Yeah. So
But with us, main problem with us back in 2000 was transmission because we were already making well over 800 horsepower in 2001,
wow.
but we didn't have axles. We barely, we found the right combination axles. Frank Rehack from Drive Shop Shop.
Yeah.
I first came to Frank. His shop was like in New York, was like a little hole in the wall.
Uh huh.
It must be like, it's probably like maybe 2,000 square feet, and he
Uh
was
huh.
just doing regular remanufactured axles and all that stuff. So Frank, I'm sending Frank all my broken axles every week. Develop, hey Frank, what do you think about this hub? That I'll send him all my spool. and Frank found the right combination. So now we're not breaking axles no more, but now transmission.
Shit.
So we didn't have a tranny guy at that time, and that's
So
where it held us from reaching that. We were 2001. I was already going 165 mile an hour. I had the
wow.
record for fastest Honda at 165.
And what setup was
And
this?
this is a Gary Kubo. Gary Kubo built me an LS VTEC
Okay.
setup, and yeah, that one hit 165, and at first at 161, and everybody's like, that can't be real.
Yeah.
At Palmdale, we're going 161 to Palmdale.
Uh huh.
Gary's like one of the smartest guys I know, and goes, I think we can go faster tomorrow. Like
Yeah.
looking at the time slip. Next, I backed it up with 165, and it's
Oh
like,
shit.
like 165. It's like the funny thing is that coupe that I had, the drag coupe I had, always took the mile an hour, but I couldn't ET it for some reason. I just couldn't get the right combination.
Now tell me a little bit about Gary Kubo. What is his part in the industry?
One of the smartest engine builders there is.
Really?
Gary does not sleep. Me and Lisa, we teamed up. In 2000, we teamed up. We formed MBLK.
Okay.
And we were one of the most dominant teams back then at 2000.
MBLK.
MBLK, Myles Bautista, Lisa Kubo Racing. And we were the hot ticket. And that's, I think, the biggest mistake we made uh, is when you're on top, everybody wants to ride your bandwagon. Everybody wants to be part of you. And I'm pretty sure Lisa can agree to this. The mistake we had was when we were doing so well as a team, we should have at least tried it for more than 2 years. What happened
Mm.
was when we were doing so good, we won our races, we won our championships. Saturn, GM,
Yeah.
Saturn offered Lisa and Gary a job. And at the same time, I got offered by Turbonetics to drive this thing right here.
Oh wow.
This is the first import that went 200 mile an hour, and I was supposed to
Whoa.
drive that.
Yeah.
But due to politics, I didn't get to drive it. Right? Some controversy with the guy that was building it for Turbonetics. Uh, we can go talk about that too, because that's what made me walk away from Turbonetics out
Yeah.
of a big deal. But yeah, so me and Lisa were doing good. She got offered a job by GM to drive the Saturn car. I got offered a job to drive that car. And we're like, man, we're gonna get paid and we don't have to work on cars? Like, sign me up.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I can offer advice to guys these days. If you're doing good, the way you're doing it, keep doing it the way you're doing it. Whoever offers you and flashes you a carrot, take their money, but still do you.
Yeah.
Still do what you do. Don't sign a contract and stop what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because I think that moment is the progression on the Honda scene. That's it kind of put a halt on our progress
When the
by
other
just
company started coming in.
oh yeah. So GM paid Lisa and Gary to build a car, Saturn car. And as soon as they hit the first 7-second front wheel drive, what do you think they did? Okay, we don't need you no more. They hired the cheaper drivers and the cheaper crew.
Ah, gotcha.
So that's what I think Gary now is kind of like has a bad taste in his mouth with this industry.
Yeah.
So now they're into bodybuilding and health and fitness,
Is
health
he
and fitness
is he
stuff.
not at Skunk 2 anymore?
No. He
Okay.
left Skunk a couple of years ago.
Got you. That's the last that I
After
heard that he was at Skunk.
yeah, everywhere Gary got involved, you can tell he's special.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere Gary Kubo got involved, that team set a record and did something amazing. Because after that scene, he did the Saturn first 7-second car. after Saturn, they're not paying them no more. So he works for Chris Rado.
Yeah.
Chris Rado dominated the time attack scene. Chris Rado got out of the drag scene and went into time attack, and he dominated that scene. And then Gary goes to work for AccuFab.
Okay.
They couldn't break the 5-second barrier. Gary goes in there and tells them, well, you guys are short. You need to add another gear. Add a 5th gear. And they're like, what? They go add a 5th gear, and they became the first 5-second door slammer.
Damn.
And then after that, Dave offers them a job at Skunk.
Yeah.
Dave tried to build a car back up again to go in the all-motor thing.
Yeah.
And then now, with Gary there, they go run 165-mile-an-hour all-motor.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened. Gary left after that because he got into Lisa's health and fitness, body. She's like, all yoked up, man. Like,
yeah, I saw Lisa maybe a couple years ago at a IBOC meet, and yeah, she could definitely beat my ass for sure.
Yeah, we had a good team. We had an awesome team, and that's I have a lot of regrets, but it is what it is. It happens for a reason. That's when I walked out. That's all that stuff built up at that time in 2003. That's when I walked out of the industry.
2003. Okay, I wanted to get to that. There's a couple things that you touched on in this podcast and in past interviews that you've done. You said about politics, and I remember you said something about politics coming in and RevHard stickers not being displayed when it was your kid and other. So talk about a little bit of that, because I still see stuff like that going on to this day, whether I'm involved or I just see it going on. Tell me about how that led to you not wanting to be part of the industry anymore.
So, it was a combination, 2003 when I quit, it was a combination of, I just realized now thinking about it, it was a bunch of combination of different things. GM got in. Mm-hmm. GM got in, and it's like, we don't have transmissions. So if you break a tranny, you have 45 minutes to put the car back together.
Okay.
And GM comes in with a big rig full of motors and transmissions. And they're changing their motors and transmissions every round.
Wow.
So for us, with no backing, with little sponsors, we got sponsors, but it's not the kind of backing GM has, right? That's when I'm like, man, I don't think I'd want to compete in here no more, Like,
yeah,
I wouldn't want to compete. And then I was supposed to drive the Celica, back into the politics on that one. So the guy that was building the Celica was from Florida.
Uh-huh.
And as soon as we got the okay for testing, I went to Roy Hill Drag Racing School. I went 780s, 189 on a Mustang on a drag school. I was about to test this car, and we got a call from Florida saying that the guy that was working on the Celica had a rap sheet. He had, convicted felon, So we have a meeting at Turbonetics. Hey, we have bad news. The guy that's working on the car has got a record. So to me, it's like, I told the bosses there, I'm like, listen, I don't care if that guy killed anybody. We're paying this guy to do the job, and he's doing the job well, and he's doing his thing.
Yeah.
Let's just go on with it, right? But I don't know how corporate stuff works.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't be associated with somebody that's gonna show a pass, right? So we fire the guy. 2 weeks later, after we fire the guy, we get a call. The Scranton brothers. They're the guys that got the trophy for the 6-second 200-mile-an-hour first summit, the Summit Bounty. Scranton brothers calls Turbonetics. Goes, hey, we heard that you guys got rid of Dave. Dave used to work for us with our Mustang. They run NMRA. And this is the time when NHRA, Sport Compact scene was you know, Gatorade, sponsored by
Yeah,
Gatorade,
yeah,
Powerade,
yeah.
right? So these guys call Turbonetics saying this Dave guy used to work for us, and we know everything that he can do. He used to be our crew chief. We've gone 7 seconds our Mustang. We want to continue the program,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we have another meeting. He's like, hey, some guys from NMRA Races Mustang wants to continue the program, but they put a clause in it. We want to continue the program, but we want to drive it.
Mm.
So here I am. I stopped my program. Me and Lisa stopped our program. We went our own ways.
Yeah.
When we were like close to, we were hot. We were
Yeah.
hot. We were on a momentum. We were good momentum. They come in. They offer that. Gave a proposal, and Turbonetics took that proposal. And I'm like, wait a minute, isn't this weird? Where we've been working on that car for over a year, spent 300 grand on it, finish it ready for testing. All of a sudden, somebody calls in and saying that, hey, the guy working on your car has a rap sheet.
Mm. It was a
Where did that
TMZ?
call? Yeah, where did that call come from?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Where did that call come from? So I'm like, so these guys show up at Turbonetics, and I'm like, I gave my resignation there.
Yeah.
I quit because I'm the type of person that if I don't like you, I'm gonna stay away from you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't look you in the eye. If I don't like you, I can't be in the same place. I'm just not the type of person who's just gonna hold back.
I feel you.
So that's the time when I quit that, try to get back into the Honda stuff again. This is like 2002.
Mm-hmm.
Won a lot of races in 2002, but then GM came in. I'm like, how are you gonna compete against these guys?
Yeah.
All right. On top of that, I add it all up. I let my friend drive the Civic, crashes it,
Oy.
wrecks it, and that's when I quit. I was like, wait, 2003, I made all this money on RevHard, and that's when the housing market started taking off.
Yeah.
Right. So I got a crash car. I don't want to compete against GM. I have a new baby.
Mm.
I just got a new baby, 2003. I said maybe it's time to walk, time to take the money I made, and I bankrolled it on real estate.
Got you.
So back then at 2003, 2004, if you have like 50,000 down, you can buy whatever house you want, even though you don't qualify for it.
Okay.
Right? So 350K, I bankrolled in 7 houses. I already own 2. So I bought another 7. That didn't turn out too good.
Shit.
I lost all those houses because it was like the mortgage, the rent barely covers the mortgage. So that's when the housing crashed in 2007.
Yeah.
So I lost 9 houses.
Oh my God.
I lost all of them. And the thing is too, before I took my all my eggs in one basket and put it in the real estate, Pat Spears, she's like a mom to me. The Spearco intercoolers.
Okay.
She's my mentor. They're my mentor. And she told me
Spear
Spears. Yeah.
Okay.
Spearco intercoolers sold to Turbonetics in 2001.
Okay.
But before then, George Spears is the guy that developed the intercoolers for majority of turbocharging.
Got you. Okay.
He wrote the book. It's all about intercooling. And so Pat Spears is like a mom to me, and she's like, Myles, she's like, I don't think you should take all the money. You should put it back in the business.
Into RevHard.
Don't take your share of it. Don't take your share of it and get into real estate. It's good to have 1 or 2 houses, but don't take everything you have and put it in something that you're not good at. And that's why she's up to this day. It's in my mind, like, stick to what you're good at.
Yeah.
And it's always been designing something, cars, turbo. It's always been. I did prototyping for Greddy.
Yeah.
And that's when that's majority advice that I give to the young guys now. It's don't chase the number. If you're doing something you love and you're living and you're getting by for now, but if you're fabricating, doing something you love, working on cars, and it's paying the bills, just keep doing it. My biggest mistake was I chased the number.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I make how much money in turbo kits where I can make 200 grand a house. Here's my 350 and 350 at 200 grand a house times 7, you know?
Now,
So I chased the number.
what was your ideal? What was your end goal? What did you want?
Basically, after, buying the 7 houses at 50 grand each at 200,000 profit, I could retire.
Mm.
But man, that was a big mistake because I should have known something good was going to happen in the Honda scene.
Yeah.
Because in 2003, 2004, when I quit, I just finished in a couple of years the RSX and the EP3 kits.
Yeah.
We've sold a couple of hundred kits.
You know what's funny? I had one of those kits.
No
You
way.
know Reggie from the Valley, San Fernando Valley. Reggie, he had the white Integra. The license plate was
Type R?
Noops. Yeah, well, it was the clone. It was a Type R
Yeah,
clone.
clone. Yeah, clone.
Yeah, I actually bought that car from him 2011. I bought that car from him. My buddy EJ, Adriano, and him are very good friends. So EJ was telling me that Reggie was selling the car case swapped Integra turbo, and I was like, all right, cool. And I ended up buying that car, and it had the RevHard kit in it.
Kit.
Yeah, and then I ended up just tearing that whole car apart and just partying it out because I have a right-hand drive EG. So I took all the B stuff out of the EG, put it in the Integra, and then put it into the K. And then I ended up trading that car for an RSX. So it was it was cool, man. But yeah, I had one of those manifolds, those log manifolds.
Hey, Javier Luarca from Hondata, when I
Yeah.
sponsored him back in the days, he made 475 on that log manifold.
Really?
So yeah, it's funny how just direct. It's not really log manifolds; it's still directional.
Yeah.
It looks like log from the cast, but the way it's patterned inside, it's still directional where the turbo comes out.
Got you. Okay.
That makes a big difference compared to a log manifold.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's the reason I started RevHard is because I bought a $450 log manifold. It's directional. But yeah, so it's like when I quit, it was a combination of all that stuff, the drama and all that stuff. So I quit. But man, looking back into it now, it's like, my dumbass, you sold a couple of hundred turbo kits in the K series.
Yeah.
This K series stuff was gonna get big.
Yeah.
Jeremy, Drag Cartel, Norris Preonto, Skunk. You know what I mean? It's like what could have been.
So you mentioned these companies, Drag Cartel, Preonto, Skunk 2, all three of those companies are still doing great to this day. At this day, what were those brands back then? Were they still up and coming?
Probably the biggest one there back then was just still Skunk Works.
Yeah.
Skunk Dave.
Yeah.
Because they're good business people.
Yes.
Dave is just, something about Taiwanese guys and that has the resources overseas to make parts. It's only Dave. Jeremy and Preonto, no. It's like they wouldn't even get to our class. They'll stick to all motor class.
Got you.
They can't touch us in the turbo side. But now they're like, it's like now they're like big time. Like, but back in that era, they're happy where they're at because they don't want to compete against the turbo guys.
Got you.
So, but that's like, man. So that's like, if I didn't quit 2003, what would have been, right? But everything happens for a reason. Because I quit 2003, 2004. So in the last, 16, 15 years, this is what I traded it for.
What are all those trophies for? Oh, those are all their trophies? Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
In what are they in?
In the storage. But I'm reflecting back into it now. Yeah, I lost so much by giving up, but I gained this much.
Definitely.
Because, I made a promise when I had my first kid that I'm going to be there every step of the way. And sure enough, it's paying off. It's paid off for my kids. I just had one that just graduated college, and
Congratulations.
I have a 10th grader. 2 more years. I'm just telling my wife, 2 more years when she's off to college. I'm either gonna go back racing or I'm gonna go to Philippines and an island. I'm done, right?
You need to
So
come back to
hopefully,
racing.
yeah, that's my goal. So I have a couple of projects I'm finishing up for them
Yeah.
because my 10th grader, she wants to get into it. I took my oldest kid back in high school. She had a 400 horsepower Civic.
Oh shit.
Took her to the racetrack.
Yeah.
Took her to the racetrack. She went off to college in Washington, but when she came back, man, I don't know, man. Like, she came back kind of weird from living in Washington for 3 years, man. Like,
It's a different
she's
world
like,
out there, dude.
bro, man, like, save the planet, and I keep telling her, you know the, the business that fed you and gave you that good life was, you know, not emissions friendly. So,
Yeah. It's
I
funny,
think
man.
she grew up in a Bernie Sanders state, bro. Like,
It's a different world out there. I went to Portland for the first time ever, and culture shock, bro. Culture shock. I didn't even feel like I was in the same country anymore. Things are
my
totally
kid,
different.
my kid moved all the way. This kid, right? She had scholarship for soccer. She busted her knee right before senior season.
Oh,
She applies for academic, gets accepted to pretty much every school in California.
yeah.
But I made fun of her I kind of like poked at her about busting her knee because all the scholarship was East Coast.
Yeah.
So I'm like, maybe it's meant for you to bust your knee because so you don't have to go to school East Coast, right?
Yeah.
So she applies for academic. She gets accepted to every school in California, and she chose 30 minutes from Canada to go to school.
Oh
Right?
man.
I'm like, oh man. I'm like, but the parenthood. You got to let them. She wants to be independent, so she lives in Washington for 3 years, 30 minutes from Canada,
Yeah.
and drinking age in Canada is 19.
Oh shit.
So this kid came back like she can pound it. She can pound it. She can pound it, but she came back like nature and save the planet. And but I'm happy. I mean, as a
Yeah.
parent, I don't have a bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
It's an accomplishment as a parent.
Definitely.
So every time I look back at what I gave up and what I gained, I think it was it's meant to be. I
Well,
mean,
there's two things, man. You were part of something huge, setting the foundation for the industry that myself and so many other young people thrive on, you know? And you were around for the most important times of your children's lives, and that's so much that a lot of people can't say. Because to,
yeah,
to, to make it successful in any business, it takes time, and that time is going to be taken away from somewhere else.
yeah,
So being there for your children growing up, being there for the soccer games and all the awards and things like that, that's an accomplishment in its own, and there's a lot of people that can't say that, man. And two,
yeah. That's what
you're
it
still
always
young.
boils down to that.
You're still young, and
I'm old,
then
man.
not for
It's
this
like
industry.
Bergenholtz said, we're old. Like, bro, I drank with my kids and her friends last 2 weeks ago when they came down. Did some vodka shots,
Yeah.
barbecued. Bro, my ankle, I have gout.
Yeah.
I couldn't walk for 2 weeks.
Oh shit! No way.
Eh, Yep. I couldn't walk for 2 weeks. I had to dig up their crutches from soccer and crutch around the house. And I'm like, damn, my kids are tough. They went to school in crutches and I can't even make it around the house. Like, and my wife's like, see, you're thinking that, this is like, the import racing days where, you and Frank can drink the cognacs and party like a rock star.
Yeah.
Because every Battle of the Imports, bro, that weekend in Battle of the Imports, Palmdale was a mess. All
Yeah.
the hotels and all the bars in Palmdale during Battle of the Imports.
Yeah. I wish I was
Oh,
around for those days, man. That's somebody that I really want to get on the podcast is Frank Choi for sure.
Frank Troy, yeah.
Yeah, I want to get him on here. But one thing that I always say, man, is there's so many industries that you could be in. Any other sport, soccer, baseball, anything like that, skateboarding. How many of the OGs that actually started the community, set the foundation, and made what we have today are still around and still relatively young. Not many, you know? So there's still
Yeah.
room. That's why like guys like Kenji, they're still thriving. You know, guys like Rodrez that used to work for Honda Tuning, he's still building
Yeah.
a car right now. There's still guys that are into their early 40s, you know, late 40s, and they're still in this industry thriving. So there's still a lot of room. Like, I think that that's one thing that we need is we need the OGs in the community.
Yeah. So when Mike, I actually talked to Mike at the last SEMA, not last one, but the previous year. I told him I'm building a car for my daughter,
Uh-huh.
and he's like, "That might be a good write up." He goes, "What's Archie Jr. and Tony doing now, right?" Or I was like, "Why? You think they'd want to build a car and have you guys, your kids go at it?" Like,
Oh
and
shit.
I'm like, that's a good idea, but I don't think Tony and all those guys claim their kids, man. They're on child support. You know what I mean? I was like, and yet alone build them a car? Like, come on, man. Like,
Maybe a sponsor kid or something.
yeah, right. So I'm like, but before my day is done, it looks like I'm looking at it now, telling you all this stuff. CRX saved my life,
Yeah.
made a business out of it, got into kids. I hope before my day is done, I get to see my kids in a
Hell
race car.
yeah. Yeah, definitely, man. And one good thing is at the IBOC meet, the annual IBOC meet, I'm not sure what the date is this year because this year's kind of a wash. I think it's in September or something. But
Hmm.
in Irwindale, they actually open up the track that day. So you come for the car show and then you could just do like a little test and tune kind of
Is
thing.
he back at Irwindale now?
Fontana, excuse me, Fontana.
Oh, Fontana.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
okay,
at
yeah,
Fontana. But still, it's
yeah.
fun, man. You come over there, park, check out the cars, walk around, and then if you want to do a pass or two, you go out there and run a pass, and that's super exciting.
Yeah, so this COVID thing actually helped me out, is helping me out because I get to focus more on the garage and
Yeah,
try to finish a project. So
definitely. I
uh,
I think it would
me,
be
me and
awesome.
Parks were going at it
Oh, I
uh,
know.
on on Facebook.
Yeah, so he's actually one person that I was asking because Parks is he's kind of my connection between the older generation and the newer generation. He kind of falls in the middle of it. So I was asking
Yeah,
him some questions about it, and then he said you and him were going back and forth about COVID and if it's real or not.
yeah. That's like, man. I'm like, these guys. I understand where it's coming from. We got to get back into the economy and
Yeah,
the ball rolling and everything. But at the same time, you know, he said he's got a wife that works at a hospital
yeah,
too, and my wife's a nurse, and she deals with a lot of old people. And in the beginning of this COVID thing, I wasn't. I'm not scared now, and I've never been scared of anything. I mean, I've had been
yeah,
shot at, whatever, and to me, it's like I know where I'm gonna end up no matter what happens. Right?
yeah,
I became a born again Christian, and my faith is really big.
yeah,
And when this started, I'm like, oh, I don't care. You got it. Give it to me, this and that, right? But my wife came home one day and I told her that mentality, and my wife was like, it's not about you.
yeah,
You don't get to make that call if that old person that's that's vulnerable,
yeah,
you don't get to make that call if they still want to live their life, right? And if it's a kid that's vulnerable, even my daughter even told me, it's not about you. How about if I still want to see? She's like, how about if I still want to go to college,
yeah,
right? So after that day, my mentality on this COVID thing started changing. Like, let's listen,
yeah,
because parts of them always have a government conspiracy, right?
yeah,
But but damn, we can't just listen for a month. These guys were like 2 weeks into it, and they're like going crazy,
yeah.
And it's like just respect the leaders and do as what they ask, and hopefully that'll end. You know, just respect the leaders and just follow what they're asking us to do. That's all I ask for, and
Yeah.
respect the people that still wants to live another day,
I
because
feel
we
you.
don't know how dangerous this thing is. I mean, you and I, to me, it's like I don't care. I get it. If I stop breeding tomorrow, we actually have an aunt that passed away. Uh, that's when my daughter came out 2 weeks ago,
Oh wow.
and we have an aunt that was at care home, and she just said she couldn't breathe, and then they take her to a hospital. 1 week later, done
Oh, wow. Sorry to hear that,
in a
man.
week. In a week, and that's when me and Parks were going at it. It's like it's not about you guys. It's not about me. Everybody's got to stop thinking about the me mentality.
Yeah.
It's we don't have the right to decide if that person wants to live or die.
No,
That's my thing,
I feel you on it, and there's so many different ways to look at it, but I feel like everybody has the right to look at it how they want, and
Yeah,
whatever way that they think about it, that's their right. Because no matter how you think about it, how I think about it, there's nothing we can do. Our hands are
yeah,
tied. We're to
yeah,
the mercy of the people that control us, which is the
yeah,
government. We can't open up
yeah,
because they say that we can't. Whether I like that or whether I don't like that, that has nothing to do with anything. Because if I personally
yeah,
could make a change, then I would do it. But the only thing that I
yeah,
can affect is my own life and my own circle. And yeah, there's things that I get upset with, or conspiracies that I see, but there's only so much that I can do, and I'm going to try to do the best that I can for my family with the cards that are dealt. So,
yeah.
if
And
that
it's like,
means
it's like they're freaking out in like 2 weeks. Like 2 weeks, I'm like, come on, man. Like, technically, you know, they're saying they're concerned for that one person that's not working.
yeah.
That one person's not complaining. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
guys are the one that's complaining. It's if you can't last a month without going out and you don't have nothing saved up for it, you got to arrange your plan. You got to arrange
Yeah.
your safety net.
That's
It's like
exactly what people are realizing right now. The way that I lived life before, the way that I thought about things, oh, we'll be good in a month, No, not when the money stops. You're not going to be good anymore.
that's why I'm panicking now. Now I'll be like, hey, Parks, go ahead and promote freaking. Like 2 months into it, I'm like, you're drying up. Okay, now Parks, go ahead.
Go turn it on.
I'm with you with all your government conspiracy.
Yeah.
I was like, he and I were going at it, but yeah, I understand. I mean, but we all have our own lives to live, and if I want to promote stay at home, I'll promote stay at home. You promote working. But I don't want to think beyond that. That there's always a conspiracy about everything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
If you dig, you'll definitely find something, man.
I lost a bunch of probably Chinese friends by posting that the virus came from China, but you know, but to me, the way I look at it is like, why is the U.S. hurting this much more compared to everybody else?
Those
You know what I mean? It's like
sometimes you
if
don't
you
want to.
follow the numbers and you follow the money trail,
Yeah. Sometimes you don't want to
might
ask
be
those
deliberate.
questions that you don't want the real answers to.
It might be deliberate, right?
Yeah.
So,
So Miles, let's
all
talk
right.
about it, man. Your daughter's about to graduate high school. The other one just graduated from college. Are we gonna see RevHard come back? There's space for it.
Uh, the thing is, bro, making a comeback as far as making parts. I try to like my best friend that started RevHard with me. I try to hire him beginning of this year,
Yeah.
and we tried to get it going again, but the technology and the education, the equipment that the new like the Charlie turbos
Yeah.
are doing now.
Yeah.
When I hired my old friend back, I was really planning on starting it back up again, but the way we do it, especially RevHard wasn't really a business plan.
Yeah.
RevHard was kind of just like something we stumbled on when I
Yeah.
made the manifold. So the people that made RevHard with me didn't have the proper work ethic, training, you know. And so when I got my best friend back, hired him here beginning this year, we started doing the stuff, and I saw the quality of the work,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, bro, you gotta understand when we had RevHard, we were it.
Yeah.
So no matter what we did, even if it was not to the best of our ability, people still took the job to us
Yeah.
because we were it, right? So now I showed them all the stuff. Look at Charlie Turbo's work and Speed Factory. Look at all these guys' work. It's like it's an artwork,
Yeah.
you know. So I'm like, it's you either gotta try to get better or it's not gonna work. So I ended up just sending him back to the valley, and I told him, you know what, I'll just stick to what I'm doing in my garage and sell, one, two kits here and there. But as far as like RevHard getting back into the, to that stuff, I think I I either got to go back to school or right now I have a couple of young guys I adopted. I actually 21-year-old kid called me out of nowhere, lost his parents. He's grandma and grandpa's taking care of him.
Yeah.
And grandma and grandpa's trying to push him, do something with your life, do something. So he calls me out of the blue and he goes, "Hey, my name's Noah. I want to learn about cars, and I was wondering if you have a job for me, like I'll sweep the floors."
Yeah.
So for some reason that day, I think that's pretty much the day I got rid of my old friend that I started RevHard with. And I said, "You know what? Come down. I don't have a shop right now. I just closed my shop. I'm doing stuff out of storage in my garage. Come down." Met this guy, lost his parents, lost his mom, and I started teaching him. And then I'm like, wait a minute. So now my daughter's making videos of us. We gave us a nickname, the Turbo Kid. I said, I'm gonna call you the Turbo Kid, and you can call me Turbo Miyagi.
Yeah.
So now we're trying to make a content out of this, and it's just it's a fun it's hilarious, bro. I'll start. I'm trying to learn how to. My daughter's making videos.
Yeah.
It's hilarious if you look up that. She just made a video I posted about the Errol Adam project, and this kid would like ask me stupid questions
Yeah.
out of nowhere, and I'm a sarcastic person. I'm just and it comes out to be a good video.
Yeah.
Like one time I was cutting something in a machine, and he's like, Miles, is that sharp? Like,
Yeah.
and I was like, in the camera at me. I was like, this thing that's cutting the metal, is it sharp? I was like, so. But going back to that point, I have a couple of guys right now trying to help me out.
Yeah.
If we make RevHard out of it, they definitely want to make a race team. We're gonna make a race team out of it. But as far as manufacturing parts, I'm trying to teach them all the stuff that I was lazy on, that I didn't pay attention to detail on, and hopefully they learn something. And it's like I'm not after the numbers no more, because I know whatever days I have left, I want to leave somebody what I left there and here.
Definitely. Yeah.
So those kids, it's gonna be fun. Hopefully they're like, yeah, we got to build a race team. So that one car that I'm trying to finish for my daughter.
Yeah.
It's going to be a learning experience.
Very cool, man. I definitely want to keep in touch with you because I want to see you out at some of these events. I think it would be really good to have yourself and some of the other OGs come through and just check out what we've built, man. I'm very proud of the community that we have to this day, from the race community, from the drag community, from the car show community. It's a beautiful thing, and there's a lot of people that are thriving, and this is their life, and I would love for you to come out there and check it out and then just still be a part of it, man. We would love to have you back.
We finished the motor for split second for Paul Bakika, yellow CRX. We took to IFO last IFO race in Bakersfield.
Oh, okay.
And Archie Madrasso drives it.
Oh, okay.
And the funny thing is, it's like I take Archie there, and we're in the pits, and we don't get that special treatment no more like back in the days. We got our own lanes, and so enough. So we're in the pits, and Speed Factory cuts us off.
Yeah, as they would.
and Archie's like, motherfucker, whatever. Like he's like, this guy's no freaking. We started this gangster shit. Like,
yeah, you need to let him know.
Arch, like this, Arch. we're only in the 1150 index. Let those. They're the pros. They're the pros now. Let you know. And funny is like Speed Factory just posted something on their IG about FMUs and check valves and all.
Yeah.
And somebody mentioned RevHard in there, like, oh, RevHard, like cast manifolds. Like, I was like, hey, that feels pretty good. They know who RevHard is, but they're.
Yeah, well, if
I can't
cast
believe how
manifolds,
fast those guys are going.
if cast manifolds were still making power, they would have definitely copied your manifold as well. But
Yeah. Hey, Kenny Tran went nines with it.
nice.
Kenny Tran went nines with a cast manifold.
Wow.
So that's like in 2000. 2000? Yeah, that was like in 2000.
Yeah.
99. He went 960 on a cast manifold. So
Good shit, man. Well, Myles, I really appreciate your time, man. I appreciate this conversation, and I look forward to seeing you at some of these events in the near future.
Cool, man.
Yeah, thank you for the history lesson, bro. I really, really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I told you we got Tony Jr. when this COVID thing.
Yeah.
COVID thing is when we can finally go back out. They're willing to. We'll probably drive down where you're at and.
You know what? I think that would be a cool a group setting. Since we have this downtime, I actually want to hit all the guys separately, and then so we can all become familiar with each other. And then I would love to do a group sit down just to hear some old stories, because I know one guy starts talking, then it'll, oh yeah, I remember that, and then it's just gonna be something great.
And like I told you, I don't know what it is, but I'm the only guy that can gather a bunch of big heads like that.
Hell yeah.
Room. And back then, these guys would be like, we were fighting for that belt. And at one time, Archie's like, well, you got the belt? He goes, well, freaking, let's just box for that belt. Street races. You got the belt, let's just box for it, And it's like, I was like, oh, man, like.
I love it, man. So Myles, where can everybody find you at?
RevHard.com. And then I started a turbo kit for just the 9-gen Hondas under mac-speed.com.
Okay.
And right now it's just all homemade stuff.
And what about social media?
Social media, I got iRevHard.
iRevHard. Okay, cool. We'll go ahead and list it when we post this up. And man, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. It was an awesome convo.
Thanks, Frank.
Yeah, of course.
Cool.
And thank you guys all for listening. And big shout out to our sponsor, Heel Toe Automotive. They've been around since 2002, supplying you guys with all the Honda parts that you need. Make sure you guys check them out at heeltoeauto.com. And check out Myles. We'll have his Instagram listed below. And thank you guys for listening. This is Downtime with Downstar, episode 171. And we're out. Peace.